Hi, Mr. George.
Malcolm, are you on?
All right, Mr. Chairman, this meeting is live to the public.
Okay, thank you. Calling the March order of the EDAB Economic Development Advisory Board, City of Havre de Grace to order. March 17th, happy St. Patrick's Day, and I'm probably the only one who didn't wear green. Well, you, Adam, you and me. Anyway, so we have a quorum of members. I don't know if David's on board, but Tammy's here. So Tammy, you may.
Warren, I'm here. Warren, I had a call in.
Oh, okay. So you've got the roll call under control, David?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, the meeting of the minutes, approval of the minutes for the February meeting. Any changes, edits, anything? No? Do I hear a motion that we accept them as printed?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Negative? Nay? Okay, thank you. All right. I guess the Economic Development Office report is next.
Okay, obviously there's been a great deal that has gone on since our last meeting with the American Relief Act, et cetera. So I'm going to breeze through some of that. Some I've already sent you via email, and all of the information that I sent you via email is available publicly on the Maryland Department of Commerce website, as well as the Small Business Administration website. And Adam Rozbinski at Havre de Grace City Hall has also put this information on the city's website as well to make it as publicly accessible and easy to achieve as possible. But to give you kind of a glossed over version of events, for those of you who didn't have a chance to read through the Relief Act, it has relief for Marylanders as far as taxes. And of course, Franchot's office has said that he's pushing back our date for filing. That's now May instead of the April date. It also has $178 million in relief for Marylanders and Maryland families, and relief for small businesses. This is all sales tax credits for small businesses, which is about $200 million. The small businesses with sales tax credits of up to $3,000 per month for 3 months for a total of $9,000. So that'll help about 55,000. The Maryland Department of Commerce is estimating. And the relief will be automatic on that on a sliding scale. So this is not something where you need to check your inboxes for the grant application or wait for Julie to walk around and deliver an application to you. This is an automatic that comes through. And then you also have the COVID-19 loan and grant forgiveness and additional relief funds that go towards that. So additional information will be coming through on it, on where you sign up, when you'll start seeing monies, et cetera. And again, we're keeping everything updated on the city's website through Adam Rozbinski, but we're also staying in touch with the Maryland Department of Commerce. Their website updates constantly as well, and they obviously are very well connected to what is going on, but we are staying in the mix with it. The one thing that I wanted to bring up that is, I believe, very specific to Havre de Grace, the SVOG, which is a small business administration program for the Shuttered Venue Operators Grant. This grant specifically is for museums, theaters, performance halls, concert halls, venues. There is a percentage of your income that must be derived from those public performances and shows of art. It must be a venue that has less than 500 employees, which is not hard to do, and it must have been in operation by February 29, 2020. Excuse me. So we are waiting for the additional documentation to come through on that for how we can get our art venues in. As you may be aware, the Artists Emporium does have presentations of music, piano concerts, etc. So I've went ahead and contacted the Small Business Administration to make sure they're a qualifier, the State Theater, and I'm waiting for clarification on what will be their parameters as well for some of the restaurants, if that might work as well. So we're staying on top of that one. This is something new that has come in. It is primarily for for-profit businesses who are working in performance and within the arts. I just completed a kind of like a community review for trade and industry publications and magazines. As with other organizations, they are not holding their usual trade fair. So this will be an online venue along with their magazine and their website. So I was able to secure with them a 4-month advertising for this national platform. It's basically utilized by site selectors looking for places to locate their businesses. And we were able to secure that and a place in their virtual trade show for $400 for the year. So I was very pleased with that. I have written up some of the basic information that will go into their advertising, but they're looking for targeted industries. So by some of the conversations that have been held by EDAB in previous meetings, I was allowed to list 10 specific targeted industries. I will read those off to you. Please feel free to think about them and get back to me. I will also send them to you via email so that you can review them later if you wish and get back to me. But before the advertisement goes in, I want to make sure we're on the same page with this and that you provide feedback and guidance. But the industries that we in Habited Grace are specifically interested in working with and have space available for would be bio and pharmaceutical, alternative energy and fuels, aerospace and defense, hydroponic and aquaculture, waterfront hospitality and entertainment, technology and R&D, manufacturing, shared commercial kitchen concepts, cannabis cultivation and processing, and med-surg hospital facilities. So I will send a typed up list to each of you and you can make comment, if you think it should be broken apart, something is more important than the other. I definitely appreciate any guidance or feedback that I could receive on that before it goes technically to press. Told you about Fran Show. The Maryland Department of Commerce is also going to be doing some of the programs for the Relief Act. Among those are the Small Business COVID Relief Grant Program, the Small Minority and Women-Owned Business Administration COVID Relief Program, and the Commuter and Shuttle Bus COVID Relief Grant Program. All of these are falling under the Maryland Department of Commerce. We're getting this information in drips and drabbles, but as we get it, again, we're posting it up. One of the things that I think could be of interest to some of our downtown business is the online sales and telework assistance. This could allow you to make some improvements to assist with online sales, shipping, etc. Restaurant and caterers COVID relief grant program. Again, this has not come out with great detail or any forms to fill out, but it has been announced as part of the package. And the last one is the lodging and accommodations COVID relief grant program, which obviously would have a significant impact on us as well. So each of these is available to be researched further on the Maryland Department of Commerce website. They add information pretty much daily on those, but you kind of have to know to look for them before you go and find them. You may have heard the rumors already. We had a press release that went out, but if you're familiar with Bowman's Butcher Shop, and I hope you all are because the steaks are impeccable. I think Julie has been doing yeoman's labor with keeping the candle of hope alive with Bowman's and with Alice, and it has come to fruition. They've made the decision, they've signed the lease, and they are going in downtown where the art room's professional art supplies had closed. There was a potential of a retail store going in there. So even though Julie had shown it, it was ripped from under our feet and was impossible, even though they loved the space. And luckily something occurred and they're going in. And it will not just be their meats. They're also talking about, they will do organics, they'll do cheeses and dairy products. They'll have baked goods, gourmet olive oils, balsamics, charcuterie.
Baskets.
Yeah. So it's one of their things that they're really looking into is having that really great gourmet basket for the boater who picks up all that stuff and wants to impress the first date so they get a second date. So there are going to be some really good charcuterie baskets that come out through them. As I told Warren at the beginning of this, before we were in quorum, I did receive information from City Hall, from the admin office, from the Chief of Staff, Steve Gamatoria, for an update to the Yacht Basin, and I will go ahead and present that verbally, and then I will scan and send the printed copy to members of EDAB, but I'll do that during the breakout sessions.
Right.
And then the final piece that I have, we did have a couple of grants that went out. They're very small, facade and tenant fit out. Usually we write a grant for about $50,000 from the state and receive about 5 grant applications, which allows us to distribute about $10,000. But having received many more grant applications than 5 this year, a smaller amount is going out. But we have grants going to 2 restaurants, 1 nano brewery, 1 antique retail store, and 1 to a second floor B&B concept space over an existing retail store that'll be located in the downtown, which is very exciting. We have a photographer who's going into 313 St. John Street, which is between Sweet Eats Cakes and Adele's. And if you didn't get a chance to see it, there is a new art installation that was done at 300 St. John Street, which is the Easy Tobacco store. That was done by Mike Lust, who is our artist at Bearwood Art and Design. And that's all the time I'll take from you, Mr. Chairman, to give you the reports.
Thank you, Madam Director. Okay, thanks, Erica. Robert Andrews informed me that he wouldn't be attending today. Pardon me, I was remiss. He did send me a short report and I did not distribute it. I will do that immediately following this meeting. So that takes us to Jason.
Hey, good afternoon and happy St. Patty's Day, folks. Not a whole lot to talk about. The setback zoning ordinance that was scheduled for the second reading this past Monday was postponed. That's just to give the Planning Commission an opportunity to give it a once over and send it back, back to council for consideration. We did have quite a few budget amendments between last meeting and this meeting. One was from last meeting, we had one for the fire department. They were getting kind of like the jaws of life, but for watercraft and water submerged vehicles. And that funding came from the slip user fees. So for those not aware, the slip user fees, each boat that's docked in Havre de Grace pays a $100 a year slip fee. And that funding is specifically for water rescue operations at this point. And that goes to Fund 7. So, that funding source aligns with the intended use by the Susquehanna Hose Company. This past Monday, we also passed a budget amendment allowing the police to purchase additional taser cartridges. The current ones that they have exceeded their useful shelf life, or would exceed their useful shelf life by next year. And the plan had been to start the 5-year phase in beginning next fiscal year, but because there was the savings of police overtime due to the lack of events this past year, the mayor had asked that, the police had asked that we go ahead and start that 5-year purchase plan now, and the mayor asked council, council agreed. So that's one. We also passed a resolution for a licensing agreement for an illuminated sign. It's not a digital sign, but an illuminated sign at Revolution and I believe Girard. And the that's really, I think, the most pertinent information. Erica has been knocking it out of the park with everything she does. Erica did mention at the last council meeting there's a link to go and test your internet speed, and I believe that data is captured at the state level. So the idea being that we want our broadband needs to be sent up to the state. And I think Erica, you put that on the city website, correct?
Jason, question. So you mentioned lighted signs. As I recall from the sign ordinance, that lighted signs were basically prohibited. I did notice at the senior center we have a lighted sign, or they were not allowed under the new legislation. So
lighted signs are. Lighted signs are, and you know the proposed use follows with that ordinance. I think it was here 2 years ago. What that ordinance really talks about is the digital signs, which are the ones with like the blinking light, you know, the marquees that constantly have changing animations and wordage and stuff like that. So those are not allowed. The one of McGregor's is probably the most infamous example of what's not allowed in the city. But this one's just a lit sign. It's a backlit sign, stationary.
Yeah, I know there was some concern that, for example, the Opera House, St. John's wanted a lighted sign, yeah, and they have a right-of-way issue, I understand, and the Opera House and the library, and so there was a concern that you would end up with a kind of, as someone said, jokingly said, a mini Las Vegas feel to that section of Union. At any rate, that was one of the concerns about lighted signs.
Yeah, you know, again, those are digital signs, so it's a little bit different, digital marquees. And you're right, Warren, that's exclusively for signage that would be in cities right of way. You know,
Okay.
St. John's, the library, the Opera House do have the ability to put the signs on their property, which would basically be on the wall, the exterior wall. You know, but that obviously isn't going to suit any of their needs. So there is more discussion that's going to have to be done, I think, with loosening the restrictions or you know, coming to some kind of agreement to meet those services.
One of the concerns that was expressed at the hearing, at the public hearing, St. John's wanted to, and I have to be careful here, wanted to advertise their kitchen, their drug counseling, their, you know, that one of their activities each evening. And the feeling was that, you know, to have a sign on Union Boulevard saying tonight is drug counseling night was somewhat of a concern.
Sure, that's understandable.
Okay. Anyway, okay. Thank you, Jason. So that takes us through the reports and to the, I think, the strategic and to the committee reports, unless there's anything before that. And as we get into that, I want to mention that Chris Stathis did not renew his membership. Chris has served as chairman of this organization served for over a decade, and it's hard to express appreciation at the level deserved. He's also always been forthright with his opinions within this group and his activity level. We'll be talking during this meeting about two things that he worked on and provided leadership on. And I did mention to Erica, but if there's any thoughts coming from the group, please throw them out there. I did talk to Erica a little bit before the meeting, suggesting that we ought to give Chris some proper recognition. Erica, you want to comment?
Sure. One of the things that I've done is I reached out to TD's Creations, which is on 40 with a Havre de Grace address. They do live edge wood, and they have created a lovely plaque that has the Havre de Grace Lighthouse on it, Concord Point Lighthouse, as well as the coordinates for Havre de Grace itself on a live edge piece of wood that's hand burnished. They also have another one that they've done that has it's again live edge, but it has a rendering of the Chesapeake Bay done in the blue resin for the Chesapeake Bay and Havre de Grace with coordinates. So I'm going to get some pictures of those and I can send them to the board and you can take a look at what they are. If that's something you feel is appropriate. I know the company had gifted one of these plaques to Mayor Martin, and it sits in his office and is commented upon frequently by people as something they very much like. So I thought that might be a very appropriate item coming from a local business crafted.
Any thoughts, comments? Okay, Erica, look forward to getting the pictures.
You'll have it this week.
Okay. All right, that takes us to the quote committee reports. The any developments on the auditorium gymnasium, or we now, Julie, I don't know if Beatles on, Chris was on that group. But anyway, Julie, any updates?
We finalized the pros and cons sheet, and I believe Erica forwarded that up to the powers that be, and we have no comments back at this point, so.
Okay. All right, thank you. Upper Chesapeake Health, the repurposing of HMH. I guess that we don't know if the bill for the economic impact and really more over the General Assembly. Anybody have any for that?
Mr. Chair, if I may, the bill was received the unfavorable report several weeks ago.
Unfavorable report from
The House Government Operations Committee, probably 5 or 6 weeks ago.
So it doesn't look like it's going to go forward.
It's essentially dead when it received that unfavorable report.
Okay. Is there another way, any ideas from the group, another way where we could get some funding to look at that property and, at the idea of repurposing it? Any ideas?
Warren, I guess I'm back to, the hospital has that listed with a commercial realtor. I'm just, again, I would assume that they're I haven't seen the marketing pieces that they may or may not be using. I have not seen any of that. But you would assume that they're trying to market that to a highest and best user out there. And I guess I'm back to what is it that we can add to that at this point with an additional study? I'm just curious.
So if you're telling me that
Well,
it's already on the market,
Well, they've hired a commercial realtor to deal with this. So again, I don't know how they're or if they're actively marketing it. I haven't seen any of the information, but a commercial realtor, and we've known that. I mean, they did the market study a while ago. I'm curious what we hope to add to this process here.
Well, I guess to answer it from my point of view would be to give Erica and the city an opportunity to have a document that might be allow the city to aggressively assist Upper Chesapeake in finding a reuser for that property. So that I think was the intent, was to give us some internal way to contribute and expedite the turnover of that property. Am I right or wrong? Any other comments?
Yeah, Warren, this is Jason.
Yeah.
And Mike.
Yep.
I think that the thought process behind that bill from the state legislature's standpoint and from the cities too is that the study that was conducted by Upper Chesapeake is a few years old now, and the concern is that number one, we haven't seen it in entirety. Number two, that market forces may have changed in the past, I guess, 5 years now since that study was conducted for them. But number three is that if the city were able to get support from the state to have the study done, it's an economic impact study, so it's a little further reaching than just the intended use or perceived use of that building. So the city would have kind of its own due diligence conducted as well. So I think that's the thinking behind having that impact study done. I'm with you, Mike. I don't know what the commercial listing looks like, if that's available now. I haven't checked. So that's probably one good area of approach.
Jason, thanks, Jason. Do you know, the bill itself, did anybody talk about what the actual projected cost was for an economic impact study?
Adam could probably answer that better. I think it was around $90K that the city was asking for, and I might be conflating that.
So under the fiscal impact note, it was listed at about 75,000.
Thanks, Adam.
I just checked online, and the property is not listed for sale as of yet.
Okay, thanks, Dave.
Warren, this is Terry. So it seems like we have a very short window open then if it's going to be listed for sale. Once it's listed for sale, it seems to me that they won't listen to what we have to say.
And can I make a correction real fast? The impact study, actually, the note is at $175,000.
Oh,
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, but doesn't that include, isn't that two separate portions? I can't recall what all is in there exactly.
It's the impact study and revitalization plan.
Yeah, okay.
At some point, there was an indication that beyond Upper Chesapeake, that Secretary Holt community and economic, community development, what is it? Housing and community development was approachable and interested in this project. And the feeling that I got some indication from the University of Maryland side that there was some feeling that the state could be significantly helpful under Secretary Holt's leadership in repurposing. However, I do know from my direct conversation with Secretary Holt that he felt he has some reticence about the city of Havre de Grace, and that would have to be cured. But perhaps beyond Cushman Wakefield study, beyond an economic impact study, beyond perhaps it would be worthwhile for the city to make entree to Secretary Holt, sit down with him and correct what I assure you are misconceptions. And then, which may take some difficulty or some maybe challenging, but and then move forward in a conversation with Secretary Holt about what they might bring to the party, the state might bring to the party. The feeling at the time was that the University of Maryland at the time was feeling that the repurposing and that there could be significant economic benefits from engaging the state. So that is state-directed revenue income. So I don't, Jason, I'll leave that to you, or I can, I can talk to Steve Gamatoria about it, the mayor, or whatever you wish. I'll leave that to your leadership.
Roger that. Yeah, that's something I can take up to the administration.
Okay. I apologize. I'm having some connectivity issues today for some reason. I'm freezing up now and then. Okay. The Bully Rock property, I guess, rides along with the hospital property. There's really, is Beetle with us today? Clark with us today? Clark won't call in unless you call 2 hours. I've got to set a timer and call Clark 2 hours before meetings and remind him. He takes personal service. Jason, I believe you were on that group as well, but I'm not sure that it's moved in any way. Erica, any comment on that?
I've had no feedback from the various members of the group. No, sorry.
Okay.
I was on that group, Warren. We've not talked about that property, and I'm not aware of any movement on that property.
Do you know if Clark ever got who was it, Markio up here to walk it over or something? I forget. I mean, this has been quite a while since we had that.
Yeah, that's good memory, Jason. That's a good question. I didn't hear anything from Clark about that, but he did say he was going to reach out. And I don't know if he's done that.
Well, it really does take a reminder to Clark. Do you remember who he was going to bring up?
Yeah. It was.
Send me a blurb, Mike, on that, and I'll get in touch with Clark.
Sure.
Okay. I sent Julie and Paul, because there seemed to be crossover from the what was originally the Gateways Committee, some information that came through from Erica, actually, that was pretty interesting in terms of signage for the industrial park. And there was a crossover with Shane Grimm had contacted me about interest from, I know that Andrews is interested in some white fencing, but on second contact from Shane, he mentioned also the salvage yard. And he was asking, was there funding left over? And I don't think there is, but it's certainly those two issues.
So
can,
I had
you know,
talked to
throw-
Shane about this. It started with the car folks. I don't know that we'll get anything more for this, the recycling, because they already have the trees in front of them. I did say there is another opportunity, grant opportunity, the same place I got the tree money. That may be closing soon, but I said, you know, you can't do it just for the one, you've got to have a stretch. That, you know, we could finish the whole, you know, phase 2 of it, but I never heard anything back. And when I went back, I can't see where we would plant more trees or put more, another fence. You can't just go back with, you know, the one business, because you know, they're not going to give you money for one business.
Why don't we keep that alive, Julie, and see what we can, I mean,
All right, I'll follow up with Shane.
you know, I okay.
I'll follow up.
Thank you, Julie. Appreciate it. Ask for help if you want it.
okay.
I think, you know, I think Paul's ready to work with you, whatever. Think I am, whatever. Okay, new business and commercial vacancies. I don't think we've moved very much on that. So I guess that'll move us to the Yacht Basin user survey, City Yacht Basin, and that brings up the report that Mr. Gamatoria has given to Erica to deliver to us.
Yes. So the Chief of Staff, Steve Gamatoria, requested that I share Habitat Grace Yacht Basin update with EDAB today. I'll read the information he gave me. I got it in hard copy. So I'll go ahead and scan it at work. I was on the road for an appointment a little later, so I didn't get a chance to scan it and send via email, so I apologize. But his information is this: tablet app installed to track daily peer checks by employees. Current staff have been trained and are using it on a daily basis. Beehive asset management program has been installed at the Yacht Basin. Most of their assets have been uploaded. This will be a big help with the marina's overall efficiency, especially in maintenance tracking. An informational board was installed on north side of the pilot house. This will be used for posting information for the Yacht Basin to include the monthly title chart, urgent weather statements, emergency action plans, and any other pertinent information as needed. Request for proposal went out for marina office building upgrades to include replacing shingled roof, gutters and downspouts, remove and install new deck, wrap windows, new soffit, and install board and batten vinyl siding. Bids due March 19, 2 p.m. Bids will be 3-part: roof, siding, decking. Marina manager will begin Connect CTY training, mass email and phone messaging on Thursday, March 18th. This will allow the marina to send out specific CTYs that can and will directly notify slip holders specifically of Conowingo Dam gate openings, urgent weather bulletins and events. Beginning April 1, weekly email reminders will be sent to the slip holders. This will be intended to be a customer-friendly program. The emails will welcome new slip holders, inform them of any special events that may impact the Yacht Basin, friendly reminders of specific rules, and possibly a boating tip of the week. Purchase of a new dinghy kayak rack for the Yacht Basin Marina. The new rack will be kept near the west side of the marina office building north of ramp. Investigating a point of sale system to be installed in the pilot house. Cost would be no more than $600 and would streamline and simplify retail and gas sales. Marina Management has reviewed the 2009 Yacht Basin Marina Operations Audit and will follow up on vast majority of the recommendations. Marina Management is also in the process of updating several others. Currently reviewing and updating the Marina SOP, will update, add, delete as necessary once the review is complete. Management is working on the work plan and schedule for seasonal summer staff. Management is in the process of repainting all of the parking and crosswalk lines. Steve Young has reached out to DNR, Maryland Clean Marina Initiative, for an on-site informal walkthrough to evaluate where the marina stands in regards to award criterion. And engineering is now complete on the underground storage tanks. Early winter installation is planned. So that was a lot, and I apologize. As I said, I will scan this and I will have it into your emails before you take your first bite of lunch tomorrow. But I did, since Steve took the time to provide it and asked me to provide it to EDAB, I wanted to at least read it into record so that you will have it and you will have the hard copy tomorrow. And that's all I have, Mr. Chair.
Warren?
He must be frozen.
I think Warren's frozen.
He's frozen.
We need to get Warren to take that speed test, maybe get some boosters.
If we, can you hear me?
You're coming in jauntily.
Am I on?
Coming in and out, Warren.
Say again.
Oh, your picture's back. You're muted now. There you go.
There.
There you
Okay, I apologize for that. Our Comcast service here is not, we have amplifiers all over the house, but it's not always reliable, and you never can tell whether the iPad or the computers get worse. So if they're going to send out a notification of, a phone notification, one of the real concerns as we started out, underlying missions, was to have the marina play a bigger part in the economic welfare of the city. It seems to me that it ought to, and when I have it in my hand and can read it, but it should, we should be promoting the city activities through that as well. It seems to me, did I miss something, Erica?
Yeah, that's part of it. The customer-friendly program with emails to welcome new slip holders, inform them of any special events and activities, things that may impact the yacht basin, friendly reminders of specific rules, and a boating tip of the week. So there's an intent for there to be additional information that's about come downtown, events, activities, things you can participate in, etc. But I will.
Yeah, I thought
Steve.
The way it reads, it seemed to me to suggest special events at the marina. So I guess
I'll reiterate.
Now I am.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Culturally significant preservation. I think Rick, you were involved with this with Chris, Maria Terry. Hi, Maria. I had a thought about this. I'd like to throw it out for the group's discussion, consideration, thought. There was a side issue that came out of this, and that was it was to find out, the original suggestion was now creating an easy system to find out what visitors appreciated most about Havre de Grace, but connected to the culturally or economically significant things within the city. Is that correct?
Yes, that's accurate.
Am I alive? Okay. It seemed to me that there might be an interesting, there's an effect in surveys that's self-selling, if I get a chance to say, I love this business, this restaurant, it has a way of bringing me back to that location. If you know what I mean, it makes me a part of the fan club. And so I began to think that if you disconnected it, I mean, not necessarily disconnected it, but move forward with the second part, with the methodology, you would really have an opportunity using the restaurants and other venues. You would really have an opportunity to get people to self-identify and, in fact, become subscribers to certain culturally and economic attractions within Haverty Grace. Does that make sense to anybody? I mean,
it makes actual perfect sense, Warren. One of the things that Chris and I had discussed with the QR version was a way for the QR to tie the recipient or the respondent to what they responded. So that would give the, if a particular venue or a particular restaurant is receiving an enormous amount of positives from the surveys, I don't want to say it would create a mailing list, but it would enable that data to be captured. So that
target.
Correct.
Adam, one of the issues being discussed as an impediment was, or the next step was how do we develop a QR code system that can be, it can be a printout to every restaurant on a piece of paper, every restaurant, every venue, whatever. And it would, and then it could allow them to self-identify whether or not we provided a list, self-identify what they value most in Haverty Grace.
There's a lot of QR options out there online where you can generate them.
So how do we move then, Rick, Adam, to the next? Rick, can you work with Adam to move to the next step?
Absolutely.
Yeah. No.
I think the only hurdle that we'll have to decide on is the delivery mechanism. And you kind of alluded to that, where it could be a card or a sign. But if we're indeed trying to put these in places that are, it could be a museum, it could be anything. Hanging a sign up may not be the best option there.
Right.
We can do it with a little bit more professional looking, like a plastic tent card. Like Adam said, there's a million delivery methods for those things. We just need to come up with the one that will fit in every environment we want to put it in, without it being unattractive, without it being a distraction. Because we've done it with, in our clinics, it'll print out on the bottom of your receipt. It can be something that simple, but if it's a place where money's not changing hands, obviously a receipt wouldn't be generated. So that option is out. But I'll work with Adam. We'll hammer out at least one or two good ideas and throw them at the board for the next meeting. Over.
So there are some other choices here, other data points that you can gather. One is with the new Lafayette Trail, which, we'll get the last couple of them that sort of had gotten left behind, and then we'll start marketing that strongly. I can go back into the database and see which ones are getting hit, where people are stopping and pinging, which ones are skipping. So we'll have a data point on all those 56 buildings, which ones people actually stop and listen to. The other one is under the Alliance. One of the things we're working on is a community gift card. It's the Havre de Grace gift card where you can use it in any store or restaurant downtown. And we're just starting to put that together now, but that'll be out soon. And again, I will have a database, look online that tells me where people are spending their cards, which stores, which museums they spend their cards in. So while we're doing the QR code, and that's good, there are other data points out there that exist.
Yeah. Excellent. Excellent. Yeah, that may influence the way, Rick, you know, given that Julie's got a piece of this, it may influence where you want to go with your piece of it. Do you understand what I mean?
Sure, you want to make the two enhance each other, not be in conflict with each other.
Right. You don't want to try and capture the same information two different places.
Exactly.
If we could add on, and Julie got information from that in your initiative, and you got information from Julie, the whole thing would be pretty interesting. Could be.
Yeah.
All right. Sounds good. You may want to talk to Julie about that.
Will do.
By the way, Eric, are we going to have an in-person meeting next month?
I haven't heard from admin yet what the decision is going to be made for City Hall and for the meetings, but I know that admin is discussing it and coming up with a consensus. So as soon as I have that, I will be sure.
Okay, thank you. Okay, the Legislative Impact Liaison Committee. Maria, Chris Terry is on that again. Maria, do you have any thoughts? Anything come out of that it seems so important to improve our relationship, our visibility? Anything on that?
No, I wasn't aware I was on that committee.
Oh, well, from the original list you're on it, you may have, but yeah, in fact, you've now survived as the chairman,
Oh, really?
the head of that committee. I also gave this some thought. Now, how can we, the question is, how can we interest Casserly? We've got a good relationship apparently with Lasani and Johnson. We've got a marginally good relationship with Casserly. But how can we create a special relationship with Havre de Grace and the balance of the delegation? And I think that was the question that Chris was trying to get to. And, I wonder if there are ways, for example, if we have a really special event in Havre de Grace, can we send them an RSVP invitation, every member of the delegation? I mean, that may be crazy. It may be.
The answer to that is yes. The answer to that.
Okay.
We send them not an invitation formally, but also via email and to each of their legislative aides. And not only do we send it to the Harford County delegation, but because you have to have consensus, we'll also send it to our MML or Maryland Municipal League representatives, the Maryland Association of Counties representatives, and the Cecil County delegation, because many of those districts cross over. So when we do have an event, for example, women's suffrage, we will have invitations that go out to other leaders as well. I'm working currently with the Maryland Brewers Association for the grand opening that will be held for Battery Island Brewing Company. And that will go out to legislators who are actually responsive to the Maryland Brewers Association, Maryland Restaurant Association, and Maryland retailers. So we try and stay involved with a number of organizations so that we have those pick up the phone abilities and conversations with our legislators.
I mean, there are also, we have some fun events in the city that it would be interesting to get their, just not related to their role as a delegate, but their role as a family member, and how we could get their interest in bringing their families to Havre de Grace for fun, and give them an emotional as well as political reason for being engaged with the city. Is there? I don't know. It's just a crazy thought, I guess. Is there any way? I mean, is there? We just had the ice festival. Would it make sense? And I don't know how you would select them, but would it make sense to invite delegation to activities like that, and tell them bring your family, and pick up your IDs at. Of course, they all have IDs, but whatever. If you want to pick up your card at the tourism center or whatever, but it just.
I think they've got to be aware of all when we have an ice fest or the things, those are we think they're very well marketed. If you invite them personally, someone's going to have to escort them and entertain them, which I don't know that we have staff to do right now, because we're kind of busy running the event. Just kind of I hear you. And I think it's great to send them a note saying, by the way, this is everything that's happening here. I know I write reports and Erica writes reports every month on everything that's happening in town. And we go to Route 40 meetings and county level meetings and read those stuff, that all out. So they should be aware. But on the other hand, I'm not sure we want to send a personalized invitation, because that's a whole nother, escort them about thing.
Yeah, and just a caveat off of what Julie's saying, because she's absolutely right. I mean, they're aware, and if they're not, then
shame on them.
Shame on them. Yeah, exactly. It's just good politics to be out and about in your community, especially with such large events and very visible events. And oftentimes I've run into Lasanti or Johnson, on the street, and like, hey, what's going on? All that kind of stuff. But all of our delegation showed up for specific events like the Lafayette Trail unveiling. The mayor sends.
They've been at some of the openings.
Yeah, the grand openings. Yep. The mayor sends out an invitation every year, after the 4th of July parade for the fireworks. Past few years that we've had them, he invites the delegation to Alan Fair's property, right on the river. I think it's right outside of Heron Harbor. It's supposed to be a restaurant, and actually, I think we had a meeting there once too with all the marina folks. But he invites the mayor, and several attend with their families to do the fireworks. It's like almost like a VIP event. But in those instances, when the city sends direct invitation, Julie's absolutely right. The expectation is that the mayor, the council members, or some city staff are all going to be available to escort those individuals in an official capacity. But making sure, as I'm sure that Julie and the Alliance are doing, and Erica, that our delegation is aware of small business openings and our First Fridays and Ice Festival and Pride Festival and all that other fun stuff that we do all year long. That's just that's as simple as a Facebook invite or that monthly or quarterly report. So yeah, in a nutshell, I mean, it's good politics for your representative to be seen by the community that they serve, and it's really on them to show up for those events. But the administration does send individualized invitations for official city events.
You also have to be
I
careful
guess
with
what
that,
I
because
would,
if you skip
go
somebody,
ahead,
if you
Julie.
leave somebody out, you can get yourself in trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, what I was, come on down and enjoy. I don't know. I guess bring your family and enjoy. I wish there was a way to do the invitation or to invite them without suggesting escort. I think some things like, for example, we have in December in a normal December, when the mayor honors volunteers, there are special events like that it would be, maybe interesting to add the delegation to that kind of event, because in effect, we're also volunteers for them. So it's a formal event, yes, and it's the mayor's event, yes, but it also is would elevate maybe the event and get them here, but to meet, the volunteers and for the city. But at any rate, I was just looking for ways. It caused me to think about ways that we could. Chris was really waiting for me, and I've had some significant personal issues going on for the last 3 months, and so I guess I didn't follow up. And when he expected me to, I thought of CC. He was just informing me, and I missed his intent. But I guess in my mind, in preparing after the fact for that, I started to think, well, what can we do that's exceptional, that's not necessarily formal, wear the badge, functional, where I'm here as a delegate, I'm here as a senator, but I'm here as a family member enjoying what is so great about, historic waterfront Haverty Grace. So that's where my mind started to go, but also to participate in some of the city activities that are like the honoring or like the volunteers recognition in December. So those were that was the basis of my thinking. If it's off, it's off. If it stimulates any thought, I'd love to hear us have a continuing conversation about it, and I'll let it go there. Okay. Anything else on that? Okay, the Outcome Measures Committee, Mike and David and I haven't really done anything on that. Again, probably more as a result of me. So we'll get on that horse, and as I said to you, Erica, I know a fair amount about CRM programs, having used one since the 90s, and in fact linked computers to computers via EasyLink way back in the dark ages with my staff in LA, Pennsylvania, Ohio, and Atlanta every week with that. And so I can, on CRM, I might be able to help you, but on the I think the measures and the metrics thing, and or placing those metrics in order, we really need to get together on that. So I see you've gone live on your mic, so you have something to say, Erica.
No, I was just I have some members of Junior Achievement, which is a program through Boys and Girls Club, who wish to be future executives or work in economic development or help recruit businesses, et cetera, who are helping me with the data input side of things. And so that's getting done in a very quick order, and they're giving me wonderful questions and feedback and follow through that I didn't necessarily think of. So it was just a neat way to work with some kids and get them interested in what to them at first seemed like a very esoteric profession. So I think we're going to have more data put in that format. Right now, we're up to, I believe, 800 contacts made within the past 22 months with our businesses. So that's
Good.
coming along quite nicely.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay, we've been eliminating 2 items from the agenda by accident, I think. Is there any other old business to come before the March meeting of the Economic Development Advisory Board?
Hey, Warren.
Yeah,
have
Jason.
One thing that I want to bring back up and resurrect. I know right before the pandemic, folks on the Economic Development Advisory Board had expressed interest in hosting internships for our Havre de Grace youth. And the Youth Commission met 2 weeks ago and, wanted to go ahead and get this process rolling again. So, if you're listening to this call and you were one of those folks, if you wouldn't mind just shoot me an email when this is finished, and we can just kind of get an idea of what criteria, what age range you're looking for, and then we can adjust our application process to that, and hopefully get some youth hooked up with it for the summer.
Jason, I couldn't support you more strongly. The internships are a great way to get a knowledge base among the young people you're working with, but also, to be frank, to get free help for the enthusiastic help and a new point of view for the person who's sponsoring the internship. So it's a really highly beneficial two-way street. Of course, I'm not in the workforce anymore, but I would think, for example, Erica, that taking that to the city would be a big, very interesting opportunity. Mike, you guys who are still in the workforce, I think it would be a mutually beneficial activity.
Warren, this is Terry.
Yeah, I
just
could
wanted to
see
mention
that.
too. Thanks, Jason. It's a good segue. Just to give a short update of what we've been doing. We had a job fair on February the 25th. And as you well know, all throughout the county, many employers are hiring. So it was a virtual job fair. We had 10 employers. We had, through Eventbrite, 250 people, job seekers registered. Only 65 attended. So I've mentioned it before why, it's various reasons. Unemployment money coming through, people afraid of going back to work to catch the COVID. They have to stay home with their children. So there's a lot of factors. So anyway, we'll continue to have more job fairs. They'll be virtual until we're ready to go ahead and have the in-person job fairs. But within a week and a half, we've secured 13 employers. We're looking for still 2 more. And Erica helped me with one that I'll mention. But we're having on April the 8th, a summer employment job fair. And right now we have 13 employers that have signed up. And it's a great way, it's virtual, and it's a great way for youth and for adults too. For example, a lot of school teachers, they might go ahead and look for jobs during the summer. So we have a varied group of employers that are hiring. And so I just wanted to give you an update on that.
So Jason, there's a prolific opportunity.
Oh, he knows about it. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's talking about internships are different because normally they're not paid.
Right, I understand, but if you want experience and get paid, the summer job's a great way to do it.
That's right.
Anyway, sounds great. Well done, Terry. It's a shame that only 30% of your pre-registrants are, but I think it may be also getting used to a virtual job fair. It's, you know, when it comes right down to it, do people feel intimidated by the process? Do they have, you know, the connectivity? You know, what happens? You know, what happens if there's fall off? And you know, I think it's a great, you know, I think it's probably, you know, it's a new thing. So it's going to take a while to get people used to it. And hopefully by the time they're used to it, this pandemic will be over. So.
Well, for the youth, we've also put together and we're distributing it virtually and, you know, through emails, but we've even put together a like a Zoom etiquette list, or for any platform, what you should do when you're attending an event like that. Because some people need that.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, I can imagine. On a personal note, my son works at DOJ, and he has they are the advisors to the court in national security trials. So they're the people who judges can hear anything. So they're the guys who moderate everything that goes into the court. And he came up with the idea of getting interns for that, which was really surprising. But he went to the university. For example, Georgetown gives one of his interns full credit for a semester and a rebate of $8,500 on their tuition. And he gives them he doesn't pay them, but they get a security clearance out. So it's kind of a interesting, a very successful model. The whole thing, it can be really successful.
Well, I have to add too, Warren, this is a perfect example of how we see it all throughout the county. And I think Julie and Erica can attest to this. And then also Havre de Grace, that we all partner together. For example, like, as I mentioned, I contacted Erica because I was looking for leads for this job fair. And she says, oh, I know the perfect person. And so now I'm in contact with the HR manager for Havre de Grace, and not Joe, that's his dad. And Chris Ricci is going to be at our job fair for the youth. And he's going to most likely be hiring for the Department of Public Works for Havre de Grace and for the Marina.
Mhm.
So it all comes full circle, and we all work to help each other.
There we go. Hey, it's good. All right. Anything under new business? Anything? Yes, Julie.
So a couple things. One is Havre de Grace received from the state a significant grant for Main Streets. We received $210,000. We've had 66 applications from the downtown businesses for that money, and that will be distributed across those businesses. So very quick turnaround, and we're going to help a lot of the brick and mortar stores and museums downtown. I did mention the gift card that we're doing, and you talked about all the events. I just wanted to go through. Havre de Grace is back. There's something every weekend. The farmers market will start May 1st again. The first Fridays will start again. May 1st is Defenders Day downtown. That's another festival with food trucks and vendors, and the mayor will talk about John O'Neill and all that kind of good stuff. The next weekend, the Pride of Baltimore will be up in Havre de Grace at Hutchins Park. The following week, is the garden tours. The week of May 21st is Suffragette Week. There is the parade, but there is a whole week of activities at the Opera House with speeches, reenactors, all kinds of stuff happening. So you can look at the Arts Collective and see everything happening there.
That's the week of March 21 to 27 for the suffragists.
Yeah, okay. That's coming up. All right, I had it as May, but that's okay. So March,
Excuse me, Julie,
Um,
when is the Pride of Baltimore going to be here? This coming weekend or the following?
May 7th through the 9th.
Oh, thank you. Okay.
Julie, can we get a copy of that list?
I can send you a list, and I'll just finish. There is a Jazz and Blues Fest planned June 4th through the 5th as well. So we are back and up and running in this city.
I happened to drive by Coakley's today, and if you drove by Coakley's St. Patty's Day celebration outdoors, you would know Havre de Grace was back because it was a huge crowd at noon. Unbelievable. Anyway, all right, yeah, send that. I guess if you provide it to David or Tammy, then they could come out with the minutes. It would be very
I'll just
helpful.
email it to everybody.
Oh, all right. Okay. Any other new business? Maria
I think we
Terry,
should
anything
probably
going?
congratulate Rich and Jason for both filing to run for
Oh, okay.
council. Having two people in EDAB who are running for elected office. Thank you
Ah,
for doing so.
well, good luck. Yeah.
Funny.
Right, thanks.
I do want to say real quick though, Warren, I just want to congratulate Julie on a very well done event last weekend, and Bambi and the rest of the alliance as well.
Thank you.
That was just awesome. Seeing the write up in the sun and where everybody was coming from was awesome. I mean, you have people from all the way down in Vienna, Virginia, coming up just for this event, and it really speaks to both the caliber of the event and the marketing piece. That was huge. So kudos, congratulations on that, and congratulations Maria Terry for continuing to serve on the EDAB.
Amen.
Thank you.
You do a great job, Julie. Okay. Anything? While we're talking about activities, Maria, anything going on with the Route 40 Business Association that we need to know about?
The Route 40 Business Association will have a fundraiser, which we're calling a spring roundup at La Banque at the Seaplane Base. And that will be on Friday, April the 30th from 5 until 9:30. So it's going to be a fun event with a mechanical bull. We'll have a live band, and we certainly encourage everyone to come. The cost of the tickets are $65. And if you buy a table of 10, then it's $600. And sponsorship opportunities are available.
So would you pay $65 to see Maria ride that bull?
Yes, I plan on being one of the testers of the bull. So you have to come early if you want to see me ride.
Well, please, Maria, same as with Julie, could you make sure that there's a distribution list or distribution of activities on Route 40 Business Association that goes out with the minutes or whatever for economic development?
Sure, I can do that.
Appreciate it very much. Okay, anything else, new business? If not, do I hear a motion that we adjourn at, I guess we're around 5:20 now, is that it? Yeah, 5:20. Do I hear a motion that we adjourn?
So moved.